Born by Midas from Born 2013. Welcome back to Build Theory. I'm Aurian Archive, and we're picking up on another indirect player request. And the player in question is they found a build for an Elec Armor Titan Melee Moo tank. And I didn't bother downloading, didn't bother looking at it. I just looked at the powers that were selected and went, oh boy. Somebody does not know what they're doing. All right. Now, to be fair, I am not the most unbiased person when it comes to Titan Melee. To quote myself, when a Titan Melee revamp was under consideration, gut reaction: if you're going to nerf the damage, kill the momentum mechanic. Most of us got it. Titan Melee had a huge, if not ludicrous, arbitrary damage boost because its damage per activation, damage per second, and damage per animation charts were hideously broken by the enforced momentum timeout. Okay, fine. A lot of players, like me, figured out high recharge builds that let us leverage build momentum far more often and thus stay in the top bands of the damage per ranges. I'm okay with knocking the damage down a peg or three. I'm okay with the idea of variable damage. If that's the direction the set is going to go, it also needs to ditch the reason it was overbuffed to begin with. Somebody came back and said, I don't think removing momentum is at all a realistic order. Significantly reducing its impact is not either. And my response was simple: nope. It's on the table. It's better be the first option on the table. So, starting out with, I'm not the most unbiased person when it comes to Titan Melee. I don't like the set. I can tell you exactly why the set is overpowered, and I can tell you that during the talk on the adjusting Titan Melee, the current powers team were not open to dealing with the root cause of why is Titan Melee overpowered to begin with. And so I've gotten my Titan Melee, which is a Titan Melee energy, up in the lower corner. We'll bring the window up a little bit more. And as you can see right off, two powers are just not available at start. You have to start an attack, and then you have to continue to attack. And eventually you will run into a momentum timeout, and then those powers will just turn off. Now you can either do an attack, which now since you're in slow mode takes a very long time, or you can just hit build momentum, and boom, the attacks come. Your two primary attacks that you'll be using most often because of their damage and speed and animation will come right back up. And if you are thus running a high recharge build, such as the one I'm using here, you can bring your build momentum back up so much quicker, so much faster, that you can even overcome and still put down damage, even if you're using a set that requires a manual timeout, such as I'm using Energy Aura here, and that's energized going off. And anytime you have a click or another set or another power or something else that goes off that takes you away from using Titan Melee, that give more time for momentum to timing out as you're not driving momentum any further. And that's why Titan Melee was overpowered, simply because it was the overpowering was making up for the fact that these powers were being turned off and you were being forced into an aggressively low damage per everything mode. Now, the server that I'm playing on, I don't think has a revamp. I don't think any of the revamp actually went live. So, uh, part of the reason why I'm going ahead and making this particular video is I know it's going to be placed in a forum where the power developers are watching it, and now they get to hear me repeat the same exact thing I told them last year. If you're going to address Titan Melee's overages, you start by removing the timeout on build momentum, and you remove the momentum mechanic, period. Once momentum is dropped as a mechanic, then you can tone down and readjust the other powers. Okay, now you've just made a larger reaching version of any of the weapon sets. Well, fine. Uh, the momentum mechanic is more frustrating And even if you have a hyper recharge build and at full tilt, do I actually have any incarnate powers on here? No, I don't. I don't have ageless, but at full tilt, I've got build up all the way down, or build momentum in this case, all the way down to a sub 20-second recharge time. So it's coming back very, very quickly, and that allows me to get those attacks up again. Okay, there we go. Around 20 seconds. It would be around sub 20 if I was rocking ageless, but since I didn't get it, not showing. Really can't show that or that timeout. Uh so that's where we're starting with on Titan Melee. You really need a high recharge to pull these set off. And I suspect the reason why the build on Homecoming took Moo is the false perception that Moo gives you the greatest amount of additional damage on Tank or Tertiary. And there is this little thing called damage saturation and damage animation saturation. If you have an effective damage chain, you need to stay in that damage chain. Adding additional powers doesn't really do anything. You can have all the damage in the world. If you can't put it down, you don't have all the damage in the world. All right. Now, so that's it's I've got a Titan. I know how Titans work. I know what can be skipped. I know what kind of chain I'm looking at. I already know what kind of slotting I'm looking at for a Titan. Now, electric is a little bit of a different matter because I've only got one electric tank build, and this was a concept I ran up when I was comparing bio armor to electric armor for a radiation armor set. Didn't I'm I wanted to re-implement an existing character as something else. So I ran up a combination of what would electric armor look like with radiation melee, and what would bio armor look like with radiation melee. I eventually went with bio armor, and that's Omega Z1, another game-breaking build. And we're actually going to. So there's something interesting to hopefully watch. Uh, let's see. There we go. We'll focus on the tank that's also in the map that's just hmm, chomping away at enemies a little bit at a time. And at least gives you something in the corner to watch. All right, so where we're kind of starting at is I already know that I can drop Crushing Blow. And looking here, I dropped Radioactive Smash and Proton Sweep on Radiation Melee to get this particular build to work. Now, Uh, this build did reach soft caps to melee, fire, cold, not much else, but is hard capped on resist to smashing lethal, energy, fire, cold, and running a really high psionic resist. And also, additionally, fusion is already 6 slotted with Gaussian, so that should swap well into build momentum. And we also went dark, so we're probably going to be looking for an additional power to drop. Now, on electric armor, I already know that I'm dropping power sync and power surge. On bio armor, I did take all of the slots for that. Just realized I pulled up a Titan bio, and the reason I pulled up a Titan bio was actually the most recent Titan I had worked on. Sorry, I didn't specify that at first because I'm showing a Titan energy in the window, but a Titan bio is on is the build is opened up. I have not updated the Titan energy build, and it's currently breaking in Mid Hero Reborn. So rather than take the time to do the port over, since I wanted to start this video talking about Titan Melee and why I really don't like it and what really needs to be done to if you're going to drop the damage, you have to drop the reason why the damage was buffed to begin with. Otherwise, if you're keeping the reason the damage was buffed to begin with, you're making an aggressively lackluster set. Just drop the mechanic. Just wave bye-bye. Wasn't a good idea to begin with. All right, so let's get cracking. And we'll start by I'm in the wrong window. And we'll start by swapping our radiation melee to Titan weapons. And okay, so we're missing Titan sweep. And we'll see what else we can maybe think about getting rid of on the way. We've lost slots on Rend Armor and defensive sleep. And compared to... I don't really want to lose that window. This was what? Okay, Rend Armor is still keeping that. Alright, I need to bring up and look and see what I lost. And we'll work this out as I go along. If I need a reference, I've still got my game window open, so I can look at that. So tanker, Elec, no, tank. Sorry, tanker, bio, tanker, Elec, rad. Concept one. Get the right build. Okay, so I lost a kinetic combat and I lost a Armageddon. All right. Real quick, I could fit kinetic combat and Rend Armor. Since we're not doing a toggle, we'll drop the resist debuff from there. Come back here, defensive sweep, which we can put a Armageddon in. And we also lost Whirling Smash, which was a... Okay, actually, no. Sorry. Hold that thought. Because I'm getting ahead of myself. I need a 5-slot irradiated ground. We'll do that in Whirling Smash. I'm missing a full Blistering Cold. Which I can put in Rend Armor. Alright. And now we are... Let's take defensive sweep off and look at what our values are. We're still short on fire cold melee. And kinetic crash is a strong smashing lethal. What else are we short on? Okay, whoa. Take that 6 slot off there. Okay, so we got our full blistering cold back. We got our Armageddon from irradiated ground back. We're missing contaminated strike. Alright, so we're missing a kinetic combat. That can't do kinetic combat. We do get smashing lethal in Avalanche, but Avalanche is on Arc of Destruction, which has a knockback. Defensive Sweep does not have a knockback. That would turn Arc of Destruction to Moon Blast, not just Moon Shot, Moon Blast. Alright, and 6 slot you with what are we looking at right now? Oh, defense sweep got turned back on. All right, we're back to fire cold, but we're still short on melee, and we're going to be spending a lot of time on melee, so we need to close that melee gap if we can. All right, Arc of Destruction. Right now, one of the easiest things to do is take a slot from here. Slots, auto arrange all slots. And we can do an obliteration, and that'll close. I'll close the melee gap. Or what other options do we got? Hmm. Follow through. That's what recharge time absorb. Okay. I'm kind of thinking of we can bring our kinetic combat to follow through. Follow through. It does have a knockdown. And then we'll put our 5-slot tanker with absorb on Arc of Destruction. Alright, and where does that put us? We're now soft cap to melee. We are still doing pretty good on our resist. We have a slot free. We could either power up, follow through some more, put something more back in uh, lightning fields, or give ourselves a little bit more overall defense on weave. Right now, doing something more with weave is probably our best bet. Since we're going to be very close to rocking perma energized, we're at 32 seconds recharge on a 30-second duration. We may not have to worry about the endurance consumption. So we'll put a plus in there. And we'll do the same thing with maneuvers. Again, predicated on... Alright, that didn't really change our overall. And do we lose anything really going to defense endurance recharge? Not much. Okay, not enough to worry about. Alright, and now why Soul Mastery over over Moon Mastery? Other than you get a much stronger single target attack, you get a much more useful debuff. In this case, even against hardened targets, once you drop Darkest Night on them, you're going to be really close to pushing the defensive soft cap to smashing lethal. And you'll also have an additional aggro capability. And we'll save this real quick. Save as Elec or Elec Titan and Elec Titan Soul. Alright, let's just drop those for a moment. And over in this window, we'll open up our... I don't know what I changed, but okay. Tanker, date modified, Elec Titan Soul. And we'll look at Moo. Now, you might be tempted to take Moo because it does have electrical attacks. Yeah. The thing is, you don't have that many slots to work with to begin with. And between ball lightning and static discharge, let's just look at the effects real quick. Recovery minus Static discharge does give you endurance back to yourself. How we can swap this up is Ball Lightning is a PBAOE. Over here we had Apocalypse on Gloom. Static Discharge is also a PBAOE where we had Frozen Blast. Now what we can do is we can kind of just forget about Moo Lightning. It's just a placeholder there. Auto range all slots to give us the slots to put into Static Discharge. And for Moo Lightning, we'll just do something like in-mod Accuracy Endurance. And Ball Lightning, we can give it our Frozen Blast, so we keep up our defenses. And Static Discharge, we actually really want... There's two ways we could go this. We could go with a heal back to ourselves, or we can go with Synapses Shock. And we'll do the proc. And we'll take everything aside from the raw in mod. And now, if we look at our totals, we're now getting a little bit more endurance back on ourselves. We do the mouse over. We've got a really great recharge time going on. And we're still green slapped on damage. Would I make this? Oh, hell no. You're having to basically drop one attack that could otherwise be very useful. You don't have anything to help with aggro management, and enemies cheat on endurance usage to begin with. So you're also effectively giving up a large amount of applicable damage. That is the amount of damage you can put out by going this method. And if you want to do this for theme, mm, I mean, it's your choice. Uh, do you want to give up an effective build for a non-effective build? Hey, that's up to you. I wouldn't do it, and I couldn't tell you how to make a Moo Mastery into a set that would be worth taking. Uh, Other than fixing that enemies don't cheat on endurance, but yeah, that's an entirely whole other can of worms, and I've opened enough. All right, I'll go get this one posted.